Today we're talking about how I practice being unbothered. What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Loft Talk. It's a nice Wednesday. Well, for me it's Tuesday, but y'all be watching this on Wednesday. The sun is shining. It's bright outside. I ran again today. Went on a jog I only did 2 miles this time because I was running out of time before I'm trying to be more strict and more disciplined with my schedule. So I was running out of time before I needed to be back here to get to working on my computer, answering emails, some stuff like that. So I only did 2 miles, got to the mile mark and turned around and came back. Today we're talking about how I practice being unbothered and how you can implement these things and practice being unbothered as well. If you struggle with being unbothered, or if you struggle with not being so phased, and I only say unbothered because I know that's more of the buzzword, that's more of the common way to say it. If you struggle with letting things roll off your shoulders and not being phased by small things, 'cause I know me, especially as a child, the smallest things, and I'm not saying just anything, but it would be certain things that would be small, but they would be just the right thing to get under my skin and really bother me. It could change my whole mood. It could irk me so much. And then, of course, as I got older, I started to realize I don't like the way that feel. I didn't like the way it felt then, but the older I got, the more I didn't like the way it felt, the more I felt like that had to change. Like, I can't keep letting things bother me like that and get under my skin when at the end of the day, whoever did that thing or whatever did that thing doesn't control my life. So I shouldn't allow what they do to control my life, right? Or control my day or my mood. So as I got older, I realized I need to do something about this. And so I think as a kid, kind of like an older kid going into teenage years, I started to practice allowing things to roll off my shoulders. I didn't have the language for it then, or I probably wouldn't be able to sit down and talk about it much. But I knew that I didn't want to allow stuff to bother me because I used to have OCD really bad. I still have pretty crazy OCD, but I think I'm so used to it and I found my own thing with it now that it's not as much of a problem. But when I was a kid, it was so bad to the point where if I could feel that my socks were on my feet in two different ways, it would irk my soul. Like I would start to get so angry, I wouldn't even want to leave the house in the morning. And what I mean by that is, if you know the seam where you could tell where they got done sewing the sock together or whatever, and they had to close up the sock, where the seams and all the threads kind of meet at an end, right? Which, you got one on each end of the front of the sock. A lot of times, especially as a kid, those would I could feel those seams and those, if you know what I'm talking about if you wear socks, which is pretty much everybody. Those seams would a lot of times touch my toes. This sounds so crazy. They would touch my toes in a different way in each shoe. And whichever shoe I put on second would have to follow suit of the shoe that I put on first. So if I put on my right shoe first, and however I put it on, the threads, the seam in the sock landed, this sounds so crazy, but it's real. This is probably my first time ever saying this out loud and sharing this with anybody, literally anybody. Once I put the shoe on, the seam of the sock, if it landed on my pinky toe, and that's just where it was for the day in my shoe, then the left side would have to do the same thing, or I would take the shoe off and start all over again until it landed exactly like the way that the right foot did, right? And 9 times out, usually it would never do it. This is why it was such a problem for me, because almost every morning I dealt with this as a kid, because it would never do it. They would never be the same. And so I would be in the morning, I would take my shoe on and off, whichever shoe I was putting on second, I would take it on and off at least 5 to 10 times, trying to get it right, trying to make sure that it lands the same way, or I could not function properly. I could not, my brain just would not allow me to move on. I could literally move on, but it would always be something bothering me in the back of my mind, especially because I can feel it constantly throughout the day. But I got so tired of that as a kid. That's just a small example. But I got so tired of that and other things like that as a kid that I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not about to let this stuff bother me. I can't let this stuff bother me my whole life. So I kind of went You ever quit something cold turkey? Like you was done with it, or you were so fed up with the fact that you were still doing it, like some type of habit or something. So you quit it cold turkey, like you cut sugar out your diet cold turkey, or you stopped drinking soda cold turkey. I've stopped drinking soda cold turkey multiple times in my life. I currently don't drink soda. Well, I just had a Sprite yesterday. But for the most part, I don't drink soda. Like, it's very rare that I drink it. That's kind of what I did as a kid when I was tired of these OCD habits. I was tired of letting these little things bother me and control my mood. I cut them cold turkey. Like, I just got fed up and I just went cold turkey. Like, I'm not worried about it. I'm not paying attention to it. And of course, it was easier said than done. Like, I didn't say it at all. I just did it privately. But when I was doing it, it was like it would still try to bother me, but I'd be like, nope. Almost like the same thing as like playing a character. Like, I tried to act like I was somebody else who did not care about these little things. I'm using that example to let y'all know where this kind of starts from with me, right? And I know I'm not the only one where, this type of stuff started a long time ago, right? But outside of, personal things, there were things that people would say, do, and whatever else that would bother me, whether it was to me or just around me. And I had to figure out how to let stuff roll off my shoulders. As of recently, like the last couple of years, I seen somebody tweet that they mastered the ability to let things just roll off their shoulders and not care. And that, in combination with some of my friends who don't seem to ever be fazed by anything, some of my associates and colleagues and classmates from undergrad, just seeing how some people would like come at them crazy and they would just be like totally unfazed. It's not that they scared or they scary or they're scared of confrontation or that they don't know how to defend themselves or stand up for themselves. It was a clear difference between that and what they were doing. They were just strictly unbothered. Like they didn't let the opposing person faze them. They didn't let the opposing, whatever the case may be, faze them. Some people are just born with it, and I admire it. Witnessing people like that and how they handle certain situations, and then seeing that tweet that one day, that all in combination with a few other things, made me think I can get to a point where these things don't bother me. And so I just, I'm a cold turkey type of person, whether you cutting something cold turkey or you're starting something cold turkey, I guess. So I immediately was like, being bothered is no longer a thing for me. And of course, that was one of those things where it didn't quite work out that way immediately. For the most part, it was working, but there was times where I was just like, I'm finding it. Like, I'm trying to be unbothered, but this shit right here, it's easier said than done. I haven't mastered it all the way, but I'm so much further than that. I think there's one specific occurrence for me that kind of happened over a span of time that taught me how to be unbothered, and it taught me by doing, if that makes sense. Back in the day, a few years back, probably like high school years. Yeah, it was high school years. I was one of those Twitter warriors that would argue with people every day, all day, about not just about anything. It was about stuff I was passionate about, and it was really only about race. It was back when like people were just being like blatant, well, people still do it, but when people were being blatantly racist to black people on the internet, like on Twitter, and I would find myself like calling somebody out or checking them or correcting them or arguing with them like every day on Twitter. And it got to a point where this was an everyday, sometimes multiple times a day thing. I was constantly defending black people and exclaiming how black people deserve this and black people need to. That was my life for like a few years. Like, I was constantly doing that, and I even like that's how my following ended up growing on Twitter with my old account. It's because I ain't gonna lie to you, not to toot my own horn or nothing, but I'm the type of person, I'm not speaking on nothing unless I know what the hell I'm talking about. If like, you'll never catch me going back and forth with somebody or about a subject I know nothing about. So best believe if I open my mouth and I speak on it, I'm going to be right. You get what I'm saying? Like 9 times out of 10, I'm not perfect. There is a chance that I make a mistake and I don't know what I'm talking about, even though I know a lot about a subject, right? But I'm the type of person, I don't want to look crazy or sound stupid. So if I know I don't know enough about the situation to have a conversation about it or an argument or a debate, I'm not speaking on it. I'm not going to open my mouth. But when it came to a lot of black issues, I just happen to know a lot of history. I just have great foresight and insight as well. So that paired with all the history I know, and and just the passion of being a black man myself, right? I was getting on people's ass like left and right. I built up a following from that because obviously you follow somebody when you like what they said, or you can see that they just kind of like eating people up in the comment section. I say all of that to say I was on Twitter doing that for so long, and it became draining. Like every day I'm defending my race against people who don't give a shit anyway. Like no matter what I say, they're going to be mad. No matter what I say, they're going to be angry. No matter what I say, they're going to find something to be racist about, or to like they're just going to keep going with me because they don't care. I'm a black man, and they don't like black people, or they're arguing against black people. They don't care. So why do I care so much? Not that I shouldn't care about my people and the plight of my people or whatever, right? But why am I letting these people on the internet get me this bothered? You know what I'm saying? It really came to a point where, and once I really realized, like, why am I letting these people get me this bothered? I thought I was unbothered. I thought I wasn't bothered by it, but it's like, dude, you spend hours and you do go back and forth in threads with these people. You're bothered. And I'm not saying I was wrong for being bothered, but did I want to be bothered? No. And it got to a point where I really realized one day, yo, why are you letting these people get you bothered? And then when it dawned on me, I was like, yo, what? Like, how was I ever letting these people get me this bothered? And so it was like a cold turkey. I just stopped doing it altogether. And ever since then, like that helped me practice not being bothered. And sometimes I almost get baited into stuff because I see stuff on Twitter or Instagram, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, yo, y'all are so dumb. Or y'all just say any damn thing. And I'd be tempted to respond, but then I'm like, and sometimes I even type up the response, but before I hit tweet or before I hit post, I'm like, actually, I don't care. I don't. Like, I literally don't. Like, I don't care to hear their response to my comment, so why am I even leaving the comment? I don't care to hear their response to my response. So, and sometimes, every once in a while, I'll actually type it up and, like, send it or post it, and then, like, immediately go back and delete it because I don't feel like arguing about it. Not because I'm wrong on the subject or whatever, but because I strictly just don't feel like arguing about it. I don't care to argue about it. I don't care that much about it because at the end of the day, once I shut this app off, I'm not going to be thinking about it. So it got to a point where I had to stop doing that shit. So that's really what triggered me being unbothered. And honestly, y'all, life just isn't that serious. Like, yeah, there are serious things in life, but life is not a 100% serious thing all the time. Some stuff is like, oh, you think like that? Okay, well, good for you. I really don't care. I'm going to just go ahead and go on my life. You know, in a perfect world, we'd be able to educate everybody on everything so that none of us are ignorant or saying, you know, things from an ignorant headspace. And I'm including myself. Like, there's probably somebody watching my video right now looking at me like, dude, you sound dumb. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, I know I don't sound dumb. There's really nothing that sounds dumb in this video. But I know that there's somebody that knows some information or has some knowledge that's probably looking at my videos like, you're missing out on some. This is like there's always somebody who knows more than you or who knows something you don't. So, but if we could educate everybody on everything, the world would be too perfect. So, and another great way to stay unbothered is to remember other people's opinions don't control you. When it comes to being unbothered about what other people have to say about you, about what you do, whatever the case may be, other people's opinions do not control you. They can say what they want to say. They can say you ugly. They can say you got bad acne. They could say you fat. They could say you too skinny. They could say whatever they want to say. But realistically, then what? Then what? Is your life worth any less now because they said that? Is their life worth any more? You get what I'm saying? Does your life change when they say that? And I know it's easier said than done, but like on a real, tangible, logical level, what happens to your life after that? Nothing. What happens to your quality of sleep? Unless you let it bother you, you're not going to lose sleep over that. So what? That's what they think. That's how they feel. Now what? There's plenty of people that probably feel the opposite about you. But even that's not your business. So the only way that other people's opinions control your life is if you let them control your life. And I know it's easier said than done. I'm going to keep saying that. But once you do it, you'll notice that doing it is easier than you think. Also, other people exist outside of you. Like I said, life is not that serious. Understand that you are a supporting character in somebody's story. Yeah, you're the main character in your story, but in everybody else's story, you're a supporting character or an extra. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes understand that people are operating in their main character role. And it's not always at the forefront of their mind that you are also operating in your main character role. So they may do things out of their main character identity that rub you the wrong way or make you feel some type of way, but you have to remember to them you are the supporting character in their story. Now take that how you want, but you're a supporting character in their story, and a lot of times you being the main character of your own life isn't always at the forefront of their mind. So take some of this stuff with a grain of salt and don't let some of this stuff that people do bother you. That's it for this episode, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Follow me on my social media accounts. They are in the description below. Comment if you're going to implement any of this stuff or already are unbothered, or if you want to be unbothered and maybe you want to know more than what I just told you in here. Go ahead and comment and let me know. And if you have anything else you want me to talk about or things that you think I could do on this YouTube channel that you would be entertained by, go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. And until next episode, peace.